Video modeling intervention using peers across multiple settings for varied responses to common social questions by Regina and Kara. Autism is prevalent in school-age children. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in 2010, 1 in 68 children were identified with autism spectrum disorder. Schools, parents, and the community are being faced with developing appropriate teaching models for this growing population. ASD affects each individual in a different way, but it is common that children with ASD lack social communication skills. They also lack responsiveness to others while having delayed or repetitive or unusual responses to social questions. This lack of social communication skills can inhibit individuals with ASD from establishing and maintaining meaningful relationships, as well as be socially rejected because of their inabilities to maintain these social interactions. In 1977, Bandura demonstrated that observation of others has profound effects on the development of children. Observational learning allows children to acquire more compared to the children undergoing personal experience or direct contingencies. Bandura advocated the use of film as a teaching technique to help children watch themselves acting appropriately. Delano's 2007 review on video modeling interventions for individuals with autism stated that out of the 55 studies examined in the review, 50 participants had positive gains in one or more target skills for the study. Video modeling has its advantages versus in vivo modeling or live modeling. One, a variety of naturalistic settings can be created. Also, experimenters have control over modeling procedures, and it can be recreated until the video is utmost desired. There is convenience and benefit to having repeated observations of the same model as well. This also helps eliminate possible extraneous variables. Another fact about video modeling is that the video can be reused across other individuals. In this study, the purpose is to use video modeling of peers in order to increase the number of varied responses to relevant social questions across 3 settings: the school, home, and the community. Our participant was a 10-year-old boy diagnosed with autism at the age of 4. He attends a therapeutic school in the Midwest. He also receives ABA services in his home. The study was a multiple baseline design across 3 settings: his school, his home, and the community, because previous research reviewed by Delano in 2007 stated that most video modeling procedures were implemented in school settings. Materials consisted of paper and pencil for data recording, and a video was developed as Frank's intervention. The videos included models that were 3 of Frank's classmates that he works with frequently. The videos were recorded using an iPhone 6s and edited and formatted using iMovie and on an Apple MacBook computer. Frank watched his video model intervention on an iPad. The responses shown to Frank on the video include "I'm fine," "Everything is fine," and "I'm good" in the settings of school, home, and the community. Each response was given a number to represent the point value for Frank's usage of the phrase. The dependent variable for this study is a varied response, which is defined as a response that is topographically different from the previous response, but still relevant to the question. This study used multiple exemplars for the social questions, which are the discriminative stimuli. We used questions such as "How are you?" "How's it going?" and "How's your day?" The experimenter recorded the discriminative stimulus presented to Frank and Frank's response. Each response was then compared to a number of previous responses and determined if it varied from any of the previous responses that day. Each response was given a number to represent the point value for Frank's usage of the phrase. A score of 0 was given for no response from Frank when asked any of the 3 questions. The response was coded using 0, 1, 2, or 3, and the mean of all of the trials during that session was calculated. This gave an average number of previous responses that varied from the most current response. Reliability data were obtained from all settings. The mean inter-observer agreement was 90% with a range 80% to 100%. Also, procedure reliability was calculated for the number of varied discriminative stimulus used by the individuals. Across all calculated sessions, the average procedure reliability was 86% with a range of 75 to 97%. Baseline data were collected in the school setting for a 2-hour period for 3 consecutive days, where Frank was observed responding to social questions from his peers and teachers. Remember, these social questions were, how are you, how's it going, and how's your day? He typically responded to each question with a response, I'm good, or did not respond at all. Baseline data were collected in the home for a 2-hour time frame for 7 consecutive days, where Frank was observed responding to social questions from his family members, friends, and his ABA therapist. Baseline data was collected in the community setting for 10 days. Frank would still engage in the rote responses seen in the previous baselines in the other settings. After baseline data were collected, the intervention was implemented on the 4th day of school. The video model intervention was presented to Frank at the very beginning of school before others arrived. Frank would watch 3 2-minute video clips of his peers, in other words, classmates in his therapeutic class, responding to 3 social questions using 3 different responses each time in the school setting. For example, in the video, one question was, how are you? And the response was, I'm good. Another question was, how's it going? And the response was, everything is fine. Frank did not receive any verbal praise reinforcement for his varied responses he emitted. Intervention data was collected for a 2-hour time frame for 4 days until a stable response occurred. In the home setting, the video intervention was presented to Frank before the observation occurred. Frank would watch 3 2-minute video clips of his peers responding to 3 social questions using 3 different responses each time in a home setting. Intervention data was collected for a 2-hour time frame for 4 days until a stable response occurred. In the community settings, the video model intervention was presented to Frank before leaving his house to go into a community setting. Frank would watch 3 2-minute video clips of his peers, responding to 3 social questions using 3 different responses each time in the various community settings. Intervention data was collected for a 2-hour time frame for 4 days until a stable response occurred. The community settings in which Frank went into included places such as McDonald's, Dollar Tree, Taco Bell, and Jewel Osco. The results indicated that after the intervention was put in place, Frank's repertoire of response to the form of the question increased. Frank was using 2 other phrases besides his previously learned response of, I'm good. The study suggests that video modeling can be useful in teaching individuals with autism to use varied responses when engaging in social communication skills. Furthermore, the video modeling alone had a lasting effect on the participant. The maintenance probes in the study demonstrated that the skill of varied responding was maintained in each setting. Limitations include that Frank is currently receiving ABA services where he is reinforced for not having rote responding to certain social questions and interverbals. Future research can explore initiations of conversation across settings. as well as use of more than one participant, and look at using a female participant and exploring other ages.